Balancing the unbalanced, unbalancing the balanced. It can be said that there is balance, but it can also be said that there is unbalance. There is fairness and there is unfairness. If a ball of awareness gets caught up in these entanglements, it will surely receive pleasure and pain. But if it becomes a spectator or an outside perspective of itself, the pleasure and pain will not reach him. In fact, if they fail to destroy him, they will eventually retreat and rarely return, until they will no longer return because there is no outlet available. But ultimately, if one is detached, it doesn't matter if pain and pleasure are all around or nowhere in sight. None can disturb or perturb the unit of awareness. This is when the circumstance and condition become but an experience witnessed by an outside observer. It takes a lot of impossible work to achieve what mankind's common ideal is. To balance the duality so that desired side is maintained at a steady high and the undesirable side kept at a sporadic low. This would be balance with unbalance kept at a minimum, efficiency with waste kept to a minimum, good with evil kept to a minimum. But this may indeed be impossible within the current frame of reference, meaning the first person perspective. But if one truly reaches the third person perspective, they will no longer seek to maintain any kind of balance. A man really has to struggle to hold two heavy burdens, one in each hand, and sweat and strain to keep them up in the air in some kind of balance. One would be better to drop both and not struggle at all. People will provoke you to get involved with the struggle in various ways, citing morality, duty, honor, and tradition, offering pleasures, emotions, sensations, and excitement. Many, many different ways you will be enticed to join the tight ball of tension and confusion. But why? Dropping out of the struggle is the only way for the struggle to end. If everyone could accomplish this, you would see the struggles, the problems, greed, anger, violence, gluttony, lust, sloth, pride, envy, and ignorance begin to evaporate. But this will not get done if one recognizes it and then waits for everyone else to take the first step. The first step must be taken, but it can only be taken if one truly understands why that step must be taken. Not know why in an intellectual sense, but in a sense of direct knowing through the wisdom of experience. Why hesitate? There's no catch here. Nothing is being sold to you. No promises are being made to you. You are not asked to believe anything or join anything. You are not asked for worship or to have faith and hope, but only to be free from all things, to explore and experience without being mesmerized with a desire that inevitably lures us into the attachments that bind us. If we can let go of the world, then we will be enlightened as such to be ready to let go of the body, because this is the initial seat that was established through the following of desire. It's what incarnates a free spirit into the mundane, grounded flesh. The body of flesh is the primary component that the ego uses to reinforce its idea of itself. But if the ego dies, awareness can then maneuver into a position to become free from the flesh. When we are detached to the needs of even our own bodies, the spirit will be sufficiently ready to be, literally, free from the body. What is there to fear in death? There will be more life in flesh if the spirit is still dependent and needy of the flesh. But is it sad or not beneficial to be free from the flesh? Some people get the wrong idea and suggest that there is no awareness capable without the material flesh. But this is a lie. It shows you how much importance we place on our bodies and how much of a slave to our bodies we are. Dependent to the point to where we cannot even conceive of there being any kind of frame of reference without it. Further reinforced by the fact that the awareness has no other frame of reference to compare it to, at least none that it can remember. And this is a form of ignorance. If one is not fully aware within his frame of reference, then he will surely not be able to be aware of it from the outside. And the outside perspective is not something one wishes for or has faith or belief in. You don't wait for it to come to you. You start experiencing it through attention and practice. There is no other way out. If one searches for a way out through something within it, it will lead nowhere except to further within it. The way out is through stepping back from the whole thing. If not, then we are primarily tending to the needs and demands of the body. It is a full-time babysitting job. Wash, dress, pamper, feed, pleasure, and purge it. Often, when one surrenders himself to the body and its desires, they will find themselves in ever-increasing conditions of bondage until, quite literally, one will find themselves in chains or in cages. One who seeks to detach and transcend the body will find themselves in ever-increasing conditions of freedom until, quite literally, one will find themselves completely free of the body of flesh. Much of the distractions that keep one from seeing past the body stem from being a slave to the body. Flesh rules you. Mankind's brain, stomach, and penis are mankind's primary leaders. Is man ready to let go of his brain, stomach, and penis? Most will say, "Are you kidding?" Never. It would be crazy to even consider. Life is not even worth living without these organs, right? But all this is not so crazy. We can let go of our emotional tie to the body. We can be free both of the body and from the body. It doesn't have to be just one or the other. We don't have to continue to make excuses for being attached to a body. This body, in its current form, is holding awareness back. We can only explore on a very mundane level within a very localized position that is increasingly becoming harder to maintain, and the prospects of its sustainment are in doubt. Man talks about evolution, but is afraid to take the next step. Don't be afraid. Don't be depressed. Don't mourn for what you are leaving behind, but look forward with spirit for what you are about to become. Horizons will broaden. There will be new callings and greater adventures ahead. There's nothing to do but let it happen. We need not resist it any longer. There is nothing to hold on to. We are maturing out of our need for a security blanket. The security blanket has held us back, suspended us from advancing. We need not fear advancing. All the current fears we have only apply to the things from our current context. But these things will transform when we pull back into the next context. Because truly, an outside perspective does not need a human body to maintain itself. If there is any realization or enlightenment that is being culminated into through the stages of consciousness, it is this transcendence. We can pass beyond the mundane flesh. People are wary of this with ideas of ghosts and souls, but it is none of these ambiguous things. We are simply talking about a new type of body to house our awareness. This is the next step in evolution. The body of flesh is but training wheels for something much greater. What, you thought evolution stopped here? What exactly did you think all of this was culminating into? To remain the same? A change of body is what the essence of evolution is all about. But the next step in evolution will be one of transcending the flesh into a new, upgraded, proper seat of awareness, better suited for the needs of upgraded consciousness. Our current bodies are not adequate vehicles to explore the fabric of time and space. They are very vulnerable and too high maintenance. The new body will not be of a different, better equipped formation of flesh. Mankind is already that perfect flesh, but a body of pure awareness. It could be called a fully formed, dreaming body. It will not have the limitations and restrictions like that of the body of flesh. It will be fluid and free, able to explore the universe in ways the flesh cannot. And the body of flesh has had its time. It can be safely said that mankind has fully explored the body of flesh. He has consumed and reproduced ad nauseum. We have had our fair share of sufferings and pleasures, of hardships and leisures. We have climbed high mountains and explored deep caves. This is all well and fine, but I think it's safe to say that we've been there and done that. We have probed to our limits, deep underwater and into outer space. We have gone as far as we're going to go within the context of mundane flesh. Mankind wants to sit around and wait on higher and better technologies that will take him just a little bit further. But time is running out. We have been taking baby steps long enough. It's time to make great strides. And the great strides that mankind truly in his heart wants to take will not be taken with mundane flesh. It's simply not feasible. The waking life is indeed like a dream. It differs from the dreams of sleep only in that it has continuity, relative laws, and consequences to the flesh. This is why the flesh is not the best suited embodiment to navigate this domain. But the question is, are you ready to let go of the mundane flesh? Are you ready to let go of your brain, your heart, your stomach, your genitals? If the answer is no, then you are not yet ready to be free from a body of flesh. If you can't see a life worth living without attachment to activities such as eating, having sex, and all the other sensations and pleasures associated with a body of flesh, then you will not evolve into the next manifestation.